And then we have sad news for the city of Houston. It's hard to be a Houston fan when it comes to sports, honestly. Welcome back to another episode of In the Streets podcast, where we take a deep dive into everything music, movies, sports, fashion, nightlife, and the culture. I'm your host, Chris, aka MTZ the GOAT, aka C4, aka MC. You can call me whatever y'all want, but y'all go ahead and follow me on Instagram at MTZ the GOAT. And don't forget to follow In the Streets Instagram at In the Streets with an X podcast on Instagram. I'll have both of them linked below, and then also subscribe to the channels. You know how I like to start my episodes. This is the segment that I like to call What's That Fit? So what's that fit? We start off with the shoes. We're always going to start with the Piggies. The Piggies right now is the KD4. If you know basketball, if you know Nike, this is the mecca of all basketball shoes. The KD4, the Kobe 7, LeBron 9, well, maybe the LeBron 6s and LeBron 8s, but these were the shoes that made Nike basketball into lifestyle shoe. This started the whole rumble of, I'm going to wear these basketball shoes off the court, and they're the first time they were actually wearable and not just, they're performance based. So I have the KD4 scoring titles on feet. One of my favorite KDs to ever come out. It's a blue and yellow with the pattern going across the whole shoe. The KD4 was known for having a strap, so that we have a blue strap with a lime green check mark. And then let's go right into the pants. The pants are H&M joggers or cargo joggers. I think that's what you're gonna call them. Yeah, cargo joggers. The gray H&M. And then my top is going to be the Warren Lotus. I know my favorite superhero is Spider-Man. So Warren Lotus did a Spider-Man tee. He designed it. One of my favorite t-shirts that I have in my collection. This one's a little harder to find. Warren Lotus tees are not widely available. If you know, if you're in the streetwear, if you know streetwear, you know that Warren Lotus isn't just super attainable. But it's one of my favorite shirts. Onto the hat. I have a navy blue Astros with the pink brim, and then the 2017 World Series patch on the side. Most of my hats are going to have patches. You probably won't ever see me with the hat without a patch. So just let that be known. I like to wear exclusive hats, but this one was pretty widely available. I believe I found this at Lids, so y'all can find this if it's not sold out already. Find this at Lids. Warren Lotus will be a little bit harder to find. But I'll find aftermarket, then go ahead and post it in the bio. Great pants from H&M. You can easily just walk in and find these, but I'll go ahead and try to link them down below. And then also the KD4s are going to be aftermarket, and that's my fit. That's what the fit. So hopefully, give me a rate my fit. If you don't like it, if you like my last episode one better, let's see if I can outdo myself just about every episode, but I want y'all's opinion on it. But that's what's the fit. On this episode, I just want to go over a couple of life updates that's been going on in my life, and not just that, but a couple of things that's been popping off here in the city, and then we can just kind of go from there. I have a couple of other topics that I wanted to bring up that I'm curious if what your opinion is, or if y'all want to hear about. So let's get right into it. First things first. I'm proud to say that I'm a new homeowner. I just recently got my own house. I've been moving in throughout this whole week. So I've been in that kind of process of getting everything situated. It's exciting. It's my first time ever having something like this. I've lived by myself before, but it's never been on this kind of scale. So now that I'm living in an actual house and I have all these things, it's a little scary, but it's exciting and it's fun. And I can't wait to see what the future holds when it comes to that. But also, with that being said, I am going to be getting a new studio here soon. So I'm going to be setting up a studio inside the house. So I'm going to have a dedicated area where I'm just going to be filming all the new podcasts. So in a few, you're going to be seeing new scenery, new things. Once I get that settled in, that's going to be the permanent spot where we do all the filming. So whenever I do have a guest, they will be coming over to the studio / the house. And then I want it to be a fun environment where we just go, we hang out. We have a good time. We have people there. They're watching. We kind of have like a live audience kind of thing. and then we just just have a good time and have good conversations. So that's my main objective, my main goal when it comes to running the studio in the house, to for people to feel more comfortable, more at home, and not just feel like we're turning on the camera and we're just recording for a reason. Like we're very scripted. I want it to be more natural, more easy flowing, and more conversation style. So yeah, I just recently got a home, so I'm excited for that, and we'll see what the future holds when it comes to that. And I can't wait to see what the rest of 2022 has in store for me. It's been up and down so far, but I can't complain. I'm super blessed, and I can't wait to see what else happens throughout the year. In other news, the CLB crew got a VIP experience of the Rockstar Tour. So the Rockstar Tour, if you don't know here, if you live in Houston, there's a spot called Bottle Blonde off of Washington. So Bottle Blonde, we used to go there, I would say we went like every weekend for like 5-6 months in a row. That was like the spot, our spot. So going there just about every weekend, once or twice, a Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, so almost twice every weekend for 6 months. We got to know people that worked there. We got introduced to different people. So a couple of good friends of mine worked there at Bottle Blonde. We'll have them in an episode later on in the future, and then they'll explain their roles, what they do, what it's like to be working there, and things like that. But they invited me over to live the Rockstar Tour. At first going in, I had no idea what the Rockstar Tour was, but they kept hyping it up. So I was like, all right. You know what? Let me just go. Let me see what it's about. So this one, if you live in Houston, you know that spot that I'm talking about. So we started the Rockstar Tour. We started kind of late. I went bowling throughout the day just to hang out with a couple of friends. And then from there, I went to live this tour. We started off at a day party, a pool party at Clay. We have a section. We're having a good time. We're bouncing in and out of different people's sections. We run into Johnny Manziel. He was there. And then we're by the DJ booth. We're just, in and out having a good time. This is probably like around 5 p.m. And we're there at Clay from 5 to 8. The sun's blazing. Everybody's in shorts. There's a pool. There's a DJ. We're all having a good time, just having fun. I came, of course, I wasn't really prepared. So I came in pants. I came in cargo pants, but I rolled them up a little bit. But you could tell I was underdressed. Everybody kept looking at me funny, and they're like, why aren't you wearing shorts? We're in a pool party. But it is what it is. I didn't come prepared. Next time when we relive it, I will be prepared. I will have everything that I need. But from there, we headed on over back to Washington Street, got valeted, of course, and then we went to Bottle Blonde. We were there for a majority of the time, the rest of the night. And then I was by myself with the Bottle Blonde crew. And then when I got to Bottle Blonde, that's when CJ and Money met me up, the CLB crew. They met me up there, and then T-Mac showed up. So we're there for, 5-6 hours, just chilling, hanging out. Of course, we're in a section and out of different sections, just having a good time, man. I mean, we just like the vibes in there, and we know everybody that works there, like I said. So we interact with them, and we're all having a good time. We're always vibing, so that's always fun. So we did that, and then afterwards, we went right across the street to Hart. Usually, you have to pay to get in. There's a long line. Everybody's like the most sought-after spot there on Sunday Fun Day in Houston. So we skip the line. We don't have to pay. Get VIP treatment. We go right through the security, all that. We get in. We're at Hart for maybe like another hour or two. By this time, it's like we get to Hart at maybe like 12:30, 12. Probably, yeah, like 11:30, 12, around there. And we're there just hanging out until about 1 a.m., 1:30 on a Sunday. I started, if you want to consider brunch, probably what time was that? 2? We started at 2. We were there for a little bit. We went to go bowl. We went bowling. After bowling, that's when I started this Rockstar Tour. Whenever I get them in the podcast as a guest, I'll let them explain what exactly is the Rockstar Tour in depth. But that was my experience of the Rockstar Tour. I had a good time. It was fun. We didn't end up at after hours. That's like the extended part. I guess that's part of it, but that's just for us is a little bit more extended because I'm an adult. I got priorities. I work on Monday, so I usually have a limit where I just cut it off and I head out. Other than that, I had a good time. It was fun. I love being around them, that environment. You guys should try it out one time. That is try out the Rockstar Tour. Mine was a little bit more VIP, but you can still live it up and still have a good time whether you're VIP or not. A little bit on that topic when it comes to, because like I said, we had valet parking and things like that. But when you don't valet, you usually park on the streets or you figure out where you're going to park when it comes to either Washington Street or wherever you Midtown or anywhere in Houston that if you're going out, and I'm pretty sure that's for a majority of the cities as well, you usually park on the streets where you find a parking if you're not willing to pay or if you don't want to pay, you don't mind walking, you find a parking spot. But with that comes a lot of risk. And when I say risk, there's chances of them breaking into your car, someone hitting you, reckless driver, like all kinds of things like that. It's a little bit more on the dangerous side than it is more of the safety side. Because if you were to pay for parking, there's a tenant there, there's someone watching it, there's making sure they're not stealing, they're not breaking into cars and things like that. So what I wanted to bring into topic was breaking into cars. How do y'all feel? What do y'all feel about breaking into cars? I know I'm pretty sure no one likes it, of course, but it happens. Whether you have, there's been incidents where we don't even have anything inside our cars or anything visible and they still break in. I don't know if it's because of the type of car we're in or maybe they've been watching us and they know who we are. I don't know, different things like that. But recently my car did get broken into, and this was just a random night. We went to go have hookah at a little lounge and I parked on the side of the street and they broke into my car. Mainly my fault. I had my backpack in my back seat. I completely forgot and to put it in my trunk, and I had a rental too, so that didn't help the cause. So no tinted windows or anything, and they just saw it and they took advantage and broke the window and took my backpack. It's unfortunate. It happens. But how do y'all feel? Would y'all rather pay for parking and not take the risk of the $200 plus bill that you would have to pay? Or afterwards, or would you rather just pay the $20 to $40 to actually pay and not have to worry about that? But even then, there's still a risk that something might happen to your car just because you're out late night and things like that. But it kind of grinds my gears a little bit. It's a little frustrating. But I think it's, if you experience it, you learn from it and you rather invest. So you rather pay that extra $10, $20, $30, $40 instead of having to pay $200 or whatever the case may be. Yeah, it's free. Yeah, you don't have to pay for anything. It's easy. You just park there, you walk, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes it's worth investing and not having to risk having to pay other bills that you're not wanting to or that you have to. So that's on that. That's a little bit more on the nightlife side of things, or even in general, to be honest. Even if you're going to like a concert event or a football game and things like that, are you going to pay to park, or are you just going to risk it and park somewhere that's free and get that chance of something happening to your car? But I guess is to each is their own. For the longest, I was that guy that didn't like paying for parking and rather have it free. But it catches up to you and it sucks. It gets you in the long run, to be honest. So that was the first time. Well, yeah, it might be the second time. They broke into my car one time. I want to say it was road rage. I was parked there, and I don't know if someone in front of me, I was parked too close. Supposedly, I was parked too close or something, and they went and they just broke my window. I had all kinds of stuff in there. I was doing a photo shoot where I was doing a video shoot and for a fashion show, but they didn't take anything. They broke my window and left it. I had a few things in there and they just left everything. So when I came back, I was kind of confused. So I was like, they broke my window for no reason. But that's besides the point. So yeah, so it finally happened to me. That was years ago, the first time. This one, it recently, like about a couple of weeks ago, it happened. But now I know. I learned my lesson. I'd rather just pay that extra $10-15 to not have to risk paying the $200 plus to fix the window. On to another topic, though. They recently just announced. So everybody was, we all know, rest in peace to the late great Virgil Abloh. He unfortunately he passed away not too long ago, a couple months ago. And if you don't know who Virgil Abloh is, he's one of the most sought out fashion designers of our time, of our generation. He started a brand called Off-White. He started a brand called Off-White. He was one of the best friends. He was a DJ for Kanye for the longest. That's how he originally got started or got introduced to the industry. And then from there, he made a name of his own. He started a company called Off-White. He started working with Nike. Off-White is more of a designer brand. It's a little bit more of the higher end brand. But then he did a collaboration with Nike. The first job he did was the 10. So he came out with a pair of Jordans, Air Maxes, Vapor Maxes, Blazers, Prestos. So he had all these different Nikes that he designed. And then he had from then on out, that was back in 2017. And from there, he took off with Nike and just started making all kinds of clothing, shoes. And that's kind of where his name blew up and got big into the fashion world, the fashion industry. He was the creative director for Louis Vuitton for the menswear. So that was back in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. He started designing for Louis Vuitton, and is some of the best collections that Louis Vuitton has ever dropped was through Virgil. And every collection he had had different beautiful pieces in it, and every job had something special. We're gonna miss Virgil, of course, but he did leave a legacy behind. And he did leave a couple of things for us to keep in his memory with this one right here. So Nike just announced, well, everybody wanted to know, is Nike still going to, because there's been a few different shoes, colorways, different styles that they've been leaked or rumored, but no one ever confirmed that they were ever coming out or things like that. So everybody in the sneaker industry or in the fashion industry were like, is Nike going to continue releasing his shoes or doing collaborations with Off-White? And I think we finally got an answer. This is exciting news. We finally got a release date for the Off-White Blazers that have been rumored for, I want to say, about a year now. Leaked photos came out about a year ago. They're Blazer lows. This is the first time he's ever done a Blazer low. I'll put right here a couple pictures of them so people can see it. And for those of you who are listening and can't see the screen right now, I'm gonna go ahead and describe it. The first colorway they're dropping is a white and cream, or white and university red. So the upper is majority white, the midsole is a cream color, and then the Nike check mark that it's gonna have is gonna be a red check mark with a yellow piping throughout the shoe. So if you know the Off-White Dunks that he came out with, he has a shoelace or a piping that goes around throughout the whole shoe, in and out of the shoe. That lace is going to be yellow. So that's pretty cool. I like that one. I think I like that one the most. And then the second one is going to be the black and electric green. It's all black upper, black midsole. And then it's going to have a lime green piping throughout the shoe. Everything black, and then even the check mark. And then with the lime green or green piping throughout the shoe. So those are the two colorways that are coming out. Nike still hasn't said anything past that. They just announced this today, which is March 29th. They announced that they're going to be releasing on April 8th. So if you want a chance to get them, this is your opportunity. You go ahead and go on the sneakers app. And then for sure, I know boutiques around the city you're in, and whether in Houston, LA, wherever you're going to be, there should be boutiques that are going to be receiving these shoes as well. So keep a lookout for that. But like I said, keep a lookout for that. That's going to be on March 8th, 2022. So we're excited. We're excited to see if Nike's going to continue making Off-Whites. I know a lot of people are going to go after these. And I can't wait for the future when it comes to Off-White and Nike. But since we're on the topic of Virgil and working with Nike still, I want to bring up also Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant passed away 2 years ago, unfortunately. And he had a great legacy. He was one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But not just that, he had a very, very, very important shoe, not just in the basketball world, but also in the sneaker community. He changed the game. Him, LeBron, KD have really changed the game for Nike basketball and wearing them outside of basketball. So not just performance-based. So Kobe had a big part in that. A couple months ago or last year, Vanessa Bryant and Nike had a falling off. They had a disagreement when it came to his brand, his Nike shoes and things like that. and they announced that they weren't gonna no longer gonna release Nike Kobe's and any of the clothing brand with Nike. So they completely cut off Nike, and everybody was shocked. Everybody was, I'm not gonna say disappointed, but we love the Kobe shoe. Whether it was the Kobe 6s, 7s, and I know there were retro protros and retroing all these older models that he had, and everybody was enjoying it. And during the Christmas time, we had the Grinches, and then we had the Bruce Lee Kobe 4s. So we had different Kobe's that were coming out, and they kind of Nike stopped production. And Vanessa Bryant was upset because the people that wanted his shoes weren't having easy access to them. So she wanted everybody to have easy access, or whoever wanted the shoe to be able to get the shoe. But of course, you know how Nike is when it comes to popular shoes and releases. They usually want to make them a little bit more limited, a little bit more harder to get, and not mass produce them. So that's what kind of the conflict was. And I'm excited to announce that I believe they resolved that conflict. So last week, Nike and Vanessa Bryant both announced that the Kobe signature line is coming back with Nike. That the Kobe Bryant signature line is coming back with Nike. So we will be getting Nikes again, Kobe Bryant. So we will be getting Kobe's again, starting pretty soon in the next month or so. The first drop that's going to be is called the Mamacita, the Sweet 16. So her Sweet 16 is coming up, and in memory of Gigi, they want to release the shoe. Rumor that of leaks of the shoe have already been out. We don't know if that's exactly the shoe is going to come out, but the leaks that we did see was a black base shoe with white accents, and it was a Kobe 6. So it had a print on it. I had a snake on the back. It said Mamacita. It had the number 2, which was her number when she played basketball. And it was just in remembrance of her and what she did when she was here with us. So we're excited to see what they have planned for the shoe to be a little bit more accessible for the people that actually want it or that are excited for it. And I want to see what the future looks like for Nike and Kobe. So that's going to be a fun and good time. So that's more exciting news on that. And then we have sad news for the city of Houston. We love our sports dearly, dearly, dearly. We love our sports. But unfortunately, U of H, University of Houston, was in the Sweet 16, and they lost to go to the Final Four. 3 years in a row, we made it to the Elite Eight. One of those, which was last year, we made it to the Final Four. But this year, we fell short to Villanova. It was heartbreaking. We're excited. We're ranked within the last 8 teams. We're ranked number 1. So we had a lot of potential. We had a lot of hope. They're coming off a strong game prior against Arizona, number 1 ranked team. We're number 5. We ended up beating Arizona to go to the Elite 8, and we fell short to Villanova. It's heartbreaking. Houston has a tendency of having really good players and really good sporting teams and not knowing how to keep them. It's hard to be a Houston fan when it comes to sports, honestly. Let's take it back to 2018. 2018, the Houston sports was thriving and all over media, ESPN. People were sold out games. People were going to all the events, going out to the game, basketball, baseball, football. People were going to all the games, basketball, baseball, football. All the events were selling out, sold out stadiums. And at that time, let me just name a few who were here with us in the Houston sports. And this list is a star-studded list. Like, it can go on for a long time. But we had, in 1 year, across the sports platforms, Jose Altuve, Correa, Bregman, McCullers, Verlander, Greinke. This is just baseball. Let me go ahead and jump into another sport and name a couple people. Chris Paul, James Harden. At that time, we had Trevor Ariza. We had one of the most stacked teams, one of the most scariest teams in all of basketball. Let me go jump into football. If you thought that was a lie, if you thought that was enough. In one team, we had Tyrann Mathieu, J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney, the number one receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, the number one quarterback coming out of the draft, and at the time was one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, Deshaun Watson. Somehow, Houston was able to lose just about all those players within a year and a half. First, everybody knows we traded off Hopkins for just about nothing. We got nothing in return of Hopkins when we had maybe the worst coach / GM ever. One of the worst coaches / GMs ever, Bill O'Brien. He decided that it was a good idea to trade off DeAndre Hopkins. Number one receiver. Keep in mind that year prior, he had 0 job catches throughout the whole season. So every ball that was thrown to him that he touched, he caught. Go ahead and let that process. Think about it. He didn't drop not one pass throughout the whole season. Okay. We lose him. The second we lose DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson asks for a trade. And then he sits out and refuses to play with us because we decided that we didn't want to trade him, that we wanted to keep him, and he didn't want that. So he decided to fake an injury and sit out a whole season and a half. And then these allegations came upon him while he was, I don't know if it was a setup, if Houston did it. I don't know what it was. Whether they did it because they were mad or this is true that all these people that came out. But he had allegations on him that he was touching women, masseuse inappropriately. So he had 22 different cases on him that were complaints on him that he assaulted these women. Recently, the judge decided that they weren't going to press charges. But that still doesn't mean that the NFL may or may not still punish him for those lawsuits or those allegations that are upon him. So we lose Deshaun Watson. We lose J.J. Watt to the Cardinals. Of course, that's where DeAndre Hopkins went. We lose Jadeveon Clowney to the Browns. And then Tyrann Mathieu to Kansas City. So let's go ahead and jump over to basketball. We have James Harden. We go ahead and give him to Brooklyn. They gave us a whole bunch of first-round draft picks and different things like that for Harden. And then we lose Chris Paul because he's injured and we no longer want him. And we trade him to Oklahoma City for Russell Westbrook. So we had Russell Westbrook on our team. Actually, we traded Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook before we traded Harden. So we had Russell Westbrook and Harden back united on the same team, and we still couldn't win anything. We might be cursed. City of Houston, we might be cursed when it comes to sports, but it's devastating. Devastating news. And in baseball, of course, we just found out that we're losing Correa. He decided to sign with the Minnesota Twins instead of re-signing with us after we went to the World Series last year. We did fall short. We didn't win, but to say the least, we went to 3 World Series in the last 5 years. So I wish everybody that left us the best of luck. I love them all as players. Of course, I would want them to be still in Houston, but circumstances happen, and, I think Houston's just cursed when it comes to sports. So it's going to be an interesting basketball season, which is a little rough right now. We're not making playoffs. We're one of the worst teams. I'm excited to see what the Astros are going to do. We're usually good every year, so hopefully that stays the same. And then Texans, little to no hope for the Texans at this point. I'll forever root them because I'm a diehard Houston fanatic, and I love my sports. So I'll always root for them, but I don't think they're going to be able to go too far this season. But we'll see. We have the draft coming up. I got to stay optimistic. The team I am going for this year for sure is the Los Angeles Chargers, just because I'm a big Oregon fan, the college, and Justin Herbert just came from there. So He's going to be on his third year. We're going to see what he does. He shined his first 2 years. Now it's time for him to explode and hopefully do a long playoff run into the Super Bowl. But that's what I'm going for this year. At the end of the day, I'm still going to go for all of my Houston teams. I'm still going to support them. I'm going to go to the games. More than likely, I'm going to be usually go to the Houston Texans. I usually go to the Texans opening game. Astros opening season is coming up in a couple of weeks. So let's stay optimistic, Houstonians. We got this. We can do this. But with that being said, that's a life update on me. So it's exciting. We're going to be running. As soon as the studio's set up, I'm going to be having more co-hosts, more guests, more interviews, more content geared towards what y'all want to hear, what y'all want to see. So hopefully we get these things going. I have a surprise for everybody next episode. We're going to be filming it this weekend, and it's going to be a good one. I'm excited for it, so we'll see how that goes. But with that being said, thank you for tuning in to Industries Podcast, where we take a deep dive into sports, movies, music, fashion, nightlife, and the culture. Deuces.